Hey guys, welcome back to another bike shop order opening. This week we've got some grips, some service parts, some cleaners, some really cool stuff to go through. So you can shop online at www.mtbshed.com or come see us in person. We're in St. Louis, Missouri, right next to Six Flags St. Louis. So bring the whole family, plenty of great camping and hotels around. Or again, just shop online at mtbshed.com and we can send you whatever you need. So yeah, come by, check it out, bring your bike. We've got a ton of cool trails around, but we'll hop right into it. Our first item today, oh, Linda's not here. Linda will be here at the shop today. It is Saturday, free Red Bull Saturday at the shed. So instead of having the Linda cam down in the corner, you see the pendulum table clock. So we do sell watches, as you guys can see, the G-Shocks and whatnot behind me. Ton of new Casio and G-Shocks. I've got my 1996 Pro Trek on, one of my favorite watches to wear, and then we're a Garmin authorized dealer as well, so we have all their golf and wearables here in store. So check that out, shop online, mtbshed.com. But again, we'll jump right into it. Today, a lot of Rogue grips came in, so this has always been one of the more popular items here at the shop. The Rogue grip is cool for a couple of reasons. So as you guys can see, these giant lugs on the rubber here really give for a lot of extra suspension on the grip. So with these guys, you know, a lot of rigid riders, a lot of guys riding like a fully rigid bike, they opt to go with these grips, mainly because the suspension that they offer. So it is a really fat grip. If you got bigger hands, the ODI Rogue, the OD Rogue is the way to go. Really cool. For the longest time, they just had black, but to my excitement, when I went to reorder these, they come in a host of other colors now as well. So black, red, we got the gray ones here. So there's almost, you know, a little bit darker red there, but really cool. If you're looking to upgrade your grips, if you have just stock grips on, they're probably either slide-on grips, which those need to change immediately. If you're mountain biking, you need a set of lock-on grips for mountain biking. It's just as important as your pedals are. But getting a set of lock-on grips is going to be really big for ensuring that the grips aren't sliding around on you as you're riding around. So if you have stock grips, invest in new ones. You'll be surprised. I mean, all your body weight is going essentially to three places: your touch points, so your grip, your saddle, and your pedals. So those are 3 points to spend money. A lot of people overlook that, and you know, saddle's a big one too. You know, Ergon does great with both the saddle and the grip. We carry those in store. And then ODI is kind of our other as far as go-to grips go. So check into those. These are the double lock-ons. So as you guys can see the difference here, we have just the standard Rogue, and this is the bonus pack. So the bonus pack has their double lock-on. Sorry, you probably can't see that very well, but double lock-on there, opposed to the single that ends here. I better pull this out of the box. I'll let you guys get a little bit closer gander and while we're at a commercial break here, you guys can watch the clock swing. It doesn't look like it's gonna, oh no, we might get a chime here soon. Maybe in about, was that 13 minutes? I'm looking at a very small screen. Someone was given that as a retirement gift. But anyhow, jumping back to the grips, what we're here to do today. So that one goes on. I'm not going to seat these properly because I like to pay a little bit more attention when I do that. But double lock on these guys opposed to the single lock on the regular. So the bonus pack has the double lock on and the single lock on here. You may want to do that if you ride in a tighter area. We've got a lot of like trees and stuff like that are pretty tight on our single track. Most of our trails are were originally like deer trails. So our trail builders try to not disturb nature as much as possible. We work around trees when we're building single track mountain bike trails. So There are a lot of trees that you're going to clip your handlebars on. As they get wider, which I always recommend running the widest set of bars possible, it's going to give you more control and confidence on your bike. But you could tap the ends and these can get damaged up, and then you have to replace them once you damage the rubber to a certain point. Whereas your double lock on, you're going to have that ring of metal there at the end. And worst case scenario, if you bust, one of these off the end, you can replace that. And it's going to hold it in a little bit more secure. Not that you have to worry about a double lock on not being secure enough, but something to keep in mind. All right, next exciting item, we've got Muc-Off product. So we're big fans of Muc-Off here at the Mountain Bike Shed. We use it back in the shop. The waterless is my favorite to use. Show you guys that on camera. I won't say the last word because I am from St. Louis. We put R's in everything. If you guys are familiar with Nelly still, you'll know that's the case. But this is waterless wash. If you're from St. Louis, if you're not, there's probably a better way of saying that. I understand that. But the waterless is really awesome. So the reason I love this, I use it for my motorcycle. So it's safe on clear coats. I baby my motorcycle. Same with my bikes. I don't baby them as much, but I do wipe down my bike after every ride. I recommend folks do that. It's super important. It's going to let you know if you have any issues coming up on your bike. So get the waterless wash. What's really cool about this stuff, as they say here, it's designed to encapsulate any surface dirt to prevent scratching. So essentially what happens is it's a polymer that is going to, you're going to spray it on your bike, let it sit there for a second, or what I do, I don't really like just spraying chemicals randomly around my bikes because of the rotors. So I'll spray my rag. I'll lightly wipe the rag over the top of the surface of the paint. I'll let that sit for about 5 or 10 seconds. I'll let that chemical do its job, pull that dirt up off the surface and go around it. If you think of like, and I'm sure the science is different, but if you think of like dish soap, something along those lines, we want that sticky, that slick surface around the outside of the dirt, pulling it up off the surface. So then you come back with your rag, you can wipe it, and it's just going to be that slick bubble around the dirt that's, picking up on the rag and going across your paint surface. Obviously, if you think of like your car, if you have dust or dirt on there and somebody writes in clean me or something along those lines, wash me, then that's potentially going to scratch your paint. So same thing goes with your bike. This also kind of leaves behind a little bit of a residue to help dirt from not sticking as much to the bike. So when you get that dust, especially as we get into summer, this will help make it kind of wipe off a little bit easier. There's other products from Muc-Off that are going to enhance those situations. So look at the Muc-Off product lineup. Again, we sell them on our website. You can order them straight there. Or if you come in store, we've got every Muc-Off product that they sell, as well as a big wash station. So go follow us on socials, and we post that stuff all the time because we absolutely love the Muc-Off stuff. Come and get it. It smells really good too. So because of head injuries, I don't have a sense of smell, but for whatever reason, there's like 4 or 5 different smells I can't pick up on, and whatever is in this waterless stuff here, I can smell, and it smells wonderful. So get that. All right, guys, we'll move on. We've got Raceface Chesters. So again, Touchpoints. What I was thinking about this week, I think I looked at saddles too, but a lot of stuff's not in stock. We've got plenty here. We've got options, different sizes and shapes and whatever else you need for mountain bike specific ergon saddles. But the other 2 touch points, your grips, which we already went over, and then pedals. Pedals can be really important. We sell, obviously we have more of a mountain bike focus, but we don't sell a lot of the clipless. We mostly sell these platform pedals. So Chesters have always been a perennial favorite in the world of mountain biking. We'll see these guys here. There's a left and a right pedal. You'll always tighten if your bike's, wheels down on the ground. You'll always tighten your pedals towards the front of the bike, no matter which side you're on, and you'll loosen towards the rear of the bike. Keep that in mind. There is a left and a right pedal. you know, a lot of times it'll be marked on the spindle here. Oops, too high for you guys. On the spindle right there, this has an L, and this one also has an L, but over on the other side has an R. This has two L's. Nope, it has A2 and an L. Anyhow, you'll be able to look for the L and the R. Make sure you're putting the right pedal on the right side. Right now I've got a kid's bike in the shop. Dad went to put on the pedal and he cross-threaded it. Now we've got to replace the cranks. So that can get really expensive. These are steel spindles here on these pedals. So your cranks are probably going to be aluminum, and they are going to be aluminum or carbon. But when you thread these into that aluminum sleeve or the aluminum cranks, if you're cross-threading them, or if you're putting the left pedal on the right side or the right pedal on the left side and mixing things up, then you're going to cross-thread your cranks and need a new set of cranks, because the pedals aren't going to give way. Pedals are going to be fine. This is steel. It's your cranks that are going to get damaged. That's expensive. That's not fun to replace. So left and right pedals, you know, Raceface is a good kind of, the sizing on them is right in between. They're not too big, not too small. You know, we've talked about pedals before, flat pedals, but get your preference. I recommend not getting something cheap because it's going to have bushings instead of bearings. The internals of it are going to be junky, so they're not going to last. And even your composite pedals, like these Raceface Jesters, a lot of people feel like they have to go with aluminums. You don't. The composites on a name brand, or like Raceface or one something or another. But yeah, no, all your composite pedals from the kind of name brands that you're used to seeing in mountain biking, whether it's Wolftooth, whether it's Crank Brothers, those are all going to be good resin materials, good composite materials. When you're buying something cheap, you're probably not going to get as good of a composite or as good of a resin on there. I can assure you won't. And the internals, again, you're going to go from having bearings, something that's maybe serviceable, to something that's not. So don't cheap out on pedals. Like a good set of composites, 50, 60 bucks. You know, aluminum ones, alloy ones can run from $100 to $200, but you don't have to go crazy with it, but at least spend $50, $60 on a set of pedals. If you're getting less than that, that's how you're taking control of your bike. So you have to really watch that. So this is just inventory, stock parts, some linear pull brakes. Yeah, nothing special there, exciting. A set of them to have back in the shop. Again, another kind of just stock shop item. These are 160 mil rotors from Sram. And I think something that people should know about is, you know, when you buy a new rotor, they're typically going to come with new bolts. There are torque specs for that. That's probably going to be a T25. So know that. T25s, the amount of torque that these require, I want to say it's like, they're all going to be different. It'll be printed on the rotor itself. But I should have thrown you guys on the other screen. Yeah, so right here, I'm terrible at this. Sorry, guys. So printed on the rotor here, it's going to say A, minimum thickness, or your wear level is 1.55 millimeters. This is a 180 brake, but anyhow, the torque spec is 55 inch-pounds. So that's pretty significant. You know, you have to convert that over to Newton meters, but with the T25, you want to be careful to get those on proper. Torque them all to spec. If you have Shimano rotors, you're going to have an extra little bit to put in there to help the bolts from backing out. Elsewise, there is Loctite on here. So this is blue. Park Tool sells a nice Loctite that you could keep on your workbench. But make sure you put thread locker on there, a white thread locker. But you know, your rotors, there's a lot of vibrations happening as you grip your brake, especially through harder, chunkier stuff. So we need to have thread lock on your brake rotors. Very important. Put that on. If you take the bolts out, put them back in, clean them off, and put new thread lock on there. and let that set up and make sure that your bolts aren't backing out. Again, if you have a Shimano system, they have little brackets that kind of keep tension. It pulls tension between each two bolts of the 6 of them, and that keeps them from like slowly backing themselves out. And again, that's where you wipe down your bike. Like, you know, you're going to notice stuff like that as you're wiping down your bike. Hopefully you're not wiping down your rotors, but when you wipe down the rest of your bike, because bolts will naturally, just with all the vibrations, they'll naturally kind of back themselves out slowly. So you do need to be checking on that stuff. That's why you bring your bike in for service, because we're going to run through those things. We're going to make sure your derailleur's set up, pivot bolts on your suspension. If you've got a full suspension bike, you know, put a tool on those things. And something to keep in mind, and the same goes for like your rotors, when you're checking bolts, when you're taking a T25 and just doing your typical checks, you should also take a 5mm and check the caliper. But we're not wanting to put a ton of pressure on those bolts. So we don't want to break that thread locker when we go to check a bolt. We're just kind of putting a tool on it and putting light pressure on, seeing if it moves. If it moves, okay, now we need to go get the torque wrench and make sure it's torqued down properly. It may not be a bad idea to pull those. Again, put new thread lock on if they're supposed to have it, if it's an area in there. Don't use the red stuff ever. There's very few situations where that comes in handy. Lastly here, we've got ladies chamois. So these are really popular. I always try to point our girl riders towards these. They seem to like these. These are, I guess, what they call a boy cut. So, you know, with the guy shorts, we have the long legs on there. A lot of times women are wearing a shorter you know, shorter shorts. There's our tabletop clock. So it's going to give us 2 chimes letting us know the clock says 2 o'clock, which it is not. I am working on setting that still. But anyhow, that I think is a good note to end on. But yeah, these are really nice. These are from a brand called Terry. They make a nice chamois, very lightweight for the ladies. So if you're probably not a girl watching at this point, but if you know a girl watching at this point, let them know about this kind of boy cut. So it allows them to wear those shorter shorts and not have their chamois sticking out of the bottom. So that's really nice. I know that finding a good fit on women's shorts is a big issue, and it's hard to do as far as the kind of outer shell goes. So this is really thin. It gives them the option to wear these under any pair of shorts that they are comfortable wearing. Maybe it's more of like a tight type of short or whatever, a spandex short that they have that maybe isn't cycling specific. So very cool from Terry. This lady chamois in the boy cut, that's the go-to. Every lady who comes in that's looking for a chamois, this is what they go with. So if you're a lady and you're looking for a chamois, get the Terry boy cut. Again, you can find it on mtbshed.com. That's our order for this week. We have those in store, but you can order them online, have them shipped to your house. Shop mtbshed.com. Subscribe. We're going to try to give away a full suspension mountain bike when we reach 1,000 subscribers. So no matter when you're watching this, I'm sure we'll have some other giveaway at some other number. If we ever get there, we'll raise the bar a little bit higher for you. I appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on the socials. Come by and see us when you're passing through town. Till next time.